Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have the speaker, Professor Deepak sir, and currently he is working as an assistant professor in Purnima Institute of Engineering and Technology, Jaipur. He has completed BE from University of Rajasthan in the year 2004. He has completed the MTech from the Mewar University in the year 2011, and currently he is pursuing PhD from the Purnima Institute. He has published 15 plus research paper in the international and peer-reviewed journal. He got 2 best paper award in IEEE conference. Again, I welcome to you, sir, in this webinar, and I request you, sir, please share your knowledge with all. Yes, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Abhishek, sir.
Yeah.
First of all, I extend my sincere thanks to the management of Parul University for inviting me to deliver this lecture. Special thanks to Abhishek Mehta, sir, for making us connection. Now, as sir has told that my name is Deepak Mor. I am working as an assistant professor in Department of Computer Engineering, Purnima Institute of Engineering and Technology, Jaipur. Today, the agenda of this session we are going to learn about linear regression and how to deploy linear regression on Google Colab. So I would like to share my presentation now.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible clearly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please share your screen, sir.
Yes, I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah.
As sir has mentioned that I'm Deepak Mor and my research areas are image processing, machine learning, deep learning and data mining. For this presentation and to understand linear regression, I have used these 2 books. You can refer this. There are certain images which I have used in the images. I do not claim to be mine. I have taken from internet resources. So now I am coming to directly the agenda of today's class. We are going to learn about what is regression, where do we use regression, types of regression. Then particularly I will talk about linear regression, and then I will try to implement linear regression on Google Colab. We will create a model and we will deploy that model on Google Colab. So before I start this, I would like to show what are we trying to do here. I am planning to show this thing to you, that once this model will be ready, then this model will look like this, where a user will be able to enter experience in years and the salary for the given experience will be evaluated and will be predicted like this. So this is a model deployment of linear regression. So let us start with the regression. So we understand these 3 terms clearly now: artificial intelligence, machine learning and deep learning. So what is artificial intelligence? It is the program which has the ability to learn and can reason like a human. What does it mean? It means that we are trying to develop a system or a program which should think or reason like a human. So we are trying to mimic the human brain. Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence where the emphasis is on algorithm. That algorithm with the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. It means that here we are not going to give instruction. Here the algorithm will learn from past experiences data and then it will be able to predict on the new data also. There is another stream of artificial intelligence called deep learning, where we have a neural network. Neural network adapts and learn from large amount of data, and deep learning is a subset of machine learning. There is another term being used nowadays, that is data science. So data science combines all. So it is a combination of machine learning, deep learning, as well as mathematics, statistics, and programming languages such as Python and Java. Now let us talk about machine learning. Then machine learning can be divided into 3 types: supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, and reinforcement learning. So what is a supervised machine learning? When the training of a model is taking place on labeled data, then it is called supervised machine learning. When we have unlabeled data during training, it will be considered as unsupervised machine learning. And when we have feedback system, where a agent operates in a system and each feedback, positive feedback and negative feedback, the agent learn during the actions in an environment. That is reinforcement learning. Now, when we talk about supervised machine learning can also be classified again further into regression and classification. So what is the regression here? Regression is a statistical method which try to identify the relationship between independent variable and dependent variable. What do I mean to say here? That in every data set, we have a target value and features. So we are trying to understand the difference between target and features. So this is called regression, when we are trying to predict the value in continuous value, like what should be the temperature. Like male, female. Example of a company where advertisement investment has been mentioned and its corresponding sales has been shown. Like in a particular year, $90 was invested in for advertisement of a particular product and $1,000 was the sales. So similarly, data is listed here. Now, can we predict or forecast what will be the sale if the investment on advertisement in this year is $200? So we can do it by identifying as investment increases, sales also increases. But now we need to understand by which rate sales increases and how does advertisement investment affects sales. So when we talk in terms of machine learning context, here advertisement is an independent variable, sales is a dependent variable. So like capital X is a independent variable and small y is a dependent variable for us. Where can we use regression? Regression can be used for forecasting. It can also be used for market trend analysis, and it can also use for identifying the strength of predictors, like what will be the rain on the basis of temperature and humidity. So we are trying to identify how temperature and humidity is affecting rain, is identification of strength of predictors. We are also trying to forecast that what will be the sale on a particular investment on advertisement, or what will be the salary of an employee whose experience is some years. So that is called forecasting an effect. Another is determining market trends or forecasting, like what will be the Sensex tomorrow, what will be the crop after 3 months. So these all are called determining market trends and forecasting. So regression is used for those purposes. Now the question here arises that how do we apply regression analysis? So we can identify a line which can best fit the data. It means, let us look an example here. So I am going to explain you example, and to understand example, we need to understand the terminology. I am using these words now in my explanation. One is a dependent variable. Dependent variable is the target variable, which is a class level. Independent variables are the predictors which affect the dependent variable. Outlier is the data which does not fall into a range. multicollinearity is the relationship between independent variables, that how independent variables are interrelated with each other. Underfitting and overfitting are, suppose if the training accuracy is good and testing accuracy is lesser than that, then it is called overfitting. When the training accuracy is less and testing accuracy is high, it is called underfitting. We will try to understand all these terms by example and practical implementation now. When we talk about types of regression, there are multiple types of regression. Today we are discussing about linear regression. So let us look at this example now to understand linear regression. Let's say I need to identify that what will be the salary of an employee whose experience is given us. So here on x-axis I have an experience and on y-axis I have a salary. So for a particular organization, we can plot a graph on the basis of experience and salary. So now if I would like to know the salary of a person whose experience was not used in training, then what I want a function. That function will allow me to understand the relationship between experience and salary. So this function is in the form of straight line, which best fit the data. So we are trying to identify the best fit line. So how do we do that? We do it by this way. Here you look at the equation, we have experience and salary. I have drawn a plot between experience and salary for all the employees. Then I can draw a line. Now line can be drawn by multiple ways. So which line is best fit, we can identify. So the straight line equation is always y equal to mx plus c, where m is a slope, c is an intercept on y-axis. This could be represented in machine learning context like this: y equal to a naught plus a1x, where y is a dependent variable, x is an independent variable, a naught it is the intercept on y-axis, and a1 is the coefficient which scales scale factor for x. So if I relate it with this example, then the equation will become salary equal to a naught plus a1 into experience. Now, how can I identify the best fit line? So we know about this, that the relationship between two variables could be positive. If the slope is positive, it's a positive correlation. As x increases, y also increases. It could be negative also. If x increases, y decreases. So now how to identify the best fit line? So what do? We identify the error. So we have actual points and we have observed points now also. So we are trying to identify the difference between actual point and observed point. And we are taking summation of these all points, that becomes the cost or total error of a particular line. And we are trying to identify the line which has the minimum error or minimum cost. So by using this approach, we can identify the best line after making partial derivatives using least square method, and the equation will be m equal to summation of x minus x bar, y minus y bar, summation of x minus x bar whole square. It will give me m, and through this equation I can identify c also. So once m and c, a naught or a1 is identified, you can identify y value for a particular x value. This is the method through which we actually implement linear regression algorithm. Here numerical is mentioned to understand the linear regression algorithm working. My emphasis is on model deployment, so I am making it fast. So we are trying to identify a cost function, and once the cost function is identified, we are identifying the minimum cost function for a line, and the line which has a minimum cost function will be the best fit line, and which will become function for regression. So there are multiple measures of identifying it. One is a mean squared error, mean absolute error, or R square method. That represents goodness of fit. So now I'm coming to practical implementation. So this is the problem statement we are going to implement today. The problem statement is that we are trying to identify the relationship between years of experience and salary. So the data set is mentioned here that we have a experience in years 1.1, 1.3, 1.5 like this, and their corresponding salary is also given. So it is a labeled training data because I know the salary for a particular years of experience. So this is the data set which will become training data set for me. Here, salary is a independent variable, experience is a independent variable because salary depends on experience. The problem statement is we know the salary of these particular years of experience employee. I will give new employee with the experience, and that model will tell what could be the salary of that employee. So it is a salary prediction on experience. This is what we are going to implement today, and then I will show you how to deploy this model. As a linear regression model is easy, that's why I have chosen this topic so that we can understand how to make model and how to deploy model easily. So I am sharing my screen again to show you the execution of this. Abhishek sir, am I connected now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Okay. So I am going to use a Google Colab. It's a Google Colaboratory. It's an integrated platform where the machine learning, deep learning program can be executed using Python. It has a good support. It provides GPU also for processing, and it is a shareable. So this code can be shared among programmers easily. Now I am explaining this program to you. So this is called a cell. In this cell, first thing which we need to do to implement machine learning models, we have to import libraries. So we are importing 3 libraries here. First library is NumPy, and NumPy library is used to apply for scientific calculations. So we are importing it using a import keyword, import NumPy as NP. So we are aliasing it. We are giving a short name to this library. Another is a matplotlib.pyplot. It is the library to plot 2-dimensional graphs. We are importing it and we are abbreviating it to PLT. Another is a pandas library, very important, beautiful library to import and manage data in our program using Python. So I'm executing this. I need to run the cell. So you can use Control Enter or you can click like this. So this is executed. Now the first thing I would like to do is I would like to load data from my local drive. So I would like to take data set from my local drive. I'm going to use this data set, salary_data.csv. So I'm importing it. So I'm doing from google.colab. It's a library. I'm importing files, and then I'm using upload function, which will allow me of files to load data from local drive, and I'm saving it into a variable uploaded. I'm executing it. Now I'm getting data. So I'm retrieving data from my local drive. And I'm taking salary_data. It's a CSV file, comma separated value file. Of course, you can fetch any kind of file using this code. So this is saved here. Then in order to import this file into my program, I am using read_csv function, which is a pandas library function, which allow me to take data into a variable. So the variable name is dataset, and I'm printing it. I'm executing this. So you see this data is loaded, and here you can see I have 2 columns in this data set. I have printed here. years experience and salary. Years experience is given and its corresponding salary is given. You can see here also the index of row starts with 0. It's an index number. So 0 to 29, there are 30 rows. So in this data set, I have 30 rows and 2 columns. Abhishek sir, do I need to zoom the screen to understand it better? Or is it okay?
No, sir, it is okay. If you can zoom, then please do it, sir.
Okay.
Yes, now it's visible properly, sir.
Right. So we have imported the data set. Thank you very much, Abhishek sir. Now I would like to understand the statistics of given data set. You can use a describe function of data frame. So here the data set is in the form of data frame, which is saved in data set. So dataset dot describe will allow me to understand the statistics of data. I'm executing this. You see here, lot of information has been received. Like how many rows are there? 30 rows in years of experience and 30 rows of salary. What is the mean value of experience and salary? Standard deviation, minimum value, percentile Q2, 75th percentile Q3, and maximum value. So it gives us the entire description about the data set. Now, this is one of the methods through which you are accessing data from your local drive. But suppose you would like to take data from your Google Drive, it is also possible. You can fetch data from your Google Drive also. What you need to do, first you store your data set into a Google Drive, and then connect this particular environment Google Colab file with a Google Drive. To connect with Google Drive, we can use this google.colab library and import drive, and then use this routine mount function to connect with your Google Drive. You need to give this absolute path. This path will remain same for all drives, /content/drive. You need not to change anything. I'm executing this. As I already mounted it, so it's working. Otherwise, it would have been asked you the authorization. One link will come here. You need to click that link. Then it will ask you for authorization. You can connect any account with this and paste the authorization code, copy the authorization code and paste here. If you want, I can show you that also. Next is once it is connected, then I have saved salary underscore data.csv in my Google Drive. And now I am reading it through read underscore CSV function. Then I'm printing it. So data set is printed. Now you can see 30 rows, 2 columns. First column is year experience, another is salary. Now, if I would like to know the shape, how many rows and how many columns are there, we can use this attribute of data frame, dataset.shape. So it will give me shape, 30 rows, 2 columns. Suppose I would like to know the information about this data set, that how many columns are there, what is the column, what is the name of column, what is the data type of each column, is it a not null or null. So you can use info function of data frame, dataset.info. So in this way you can do. So here you see every information is given, 30 entries, 0 to 29. Columns are years experience and salary. Column number 0 is years experience. Column number 1 is salary. Then here total number of rows are given. All are not null and the data type is float. It's a floating values are there. Now if I would like to know specifically data type of each column, you can do that. Another, suppose I would like to see how the data is distributed, we can draw a histogram. So you can use matplotlib and import pyplot using hist function of data frame, and using pyplot you can plot it like this. So it is showing the histogram of years experience and salary. Suppose the same graph you would like to visualize the data. So you can plot density graph also of this data frame using pyplot.show. It's a density graph, how the data is distributed in ES experience and salary. So far what we have done, we have understood how to import data from local drive, how to import data from Google Drive, and how to understand the data. So we have used describe function, we have used info function, we have used shape function to understand the data. So it is all about knowing the data and importing the data and visualizing the data. So we are trying to identify the characteristic of data. Once it is done, then now the term come of data pre-processing. That in the real world, data sets are not the ideal one. They have a lot of problems. Like real world data sets do have missing values. They may have a noise and their values might not be in the range also. So we can perform pre-processing operations using Python in Google Colab also. Suppose I would like to know, do I have a missing values in my data set or not? For that, we can use isNull function. It represents true or false, and sum function, which will sum all the not null values. So isNull means is null value. So ES experience 0, salary 0. It means there are no missing values in the row in all rows for ES experience column and salary column. Now another important task is we need to divide the entire data set into dependent variable and independent variable. So you look at the data set again. In this data set, I have two columns, ES experience and salary. So now I know the salary is a dependent variable on ES experience. So I have one variable independent, another variable is a dependent. Dependent variable is salary, independent variable is ES experience. So now I am dividing it using this function. So independent variable is represented always by capital X. So capital X equal to data set, which is a data frame, dot ilog. Ilog is a function, indexed location function. And here this represents all rows. This colon is all rows, comma, colon -1 means all the columns except the last one will be fetched. Dot values will convert this data frame into matrix now. So X will be now the ES experience. Another important task is to identify the dependent variable. So what is the index number of dependent variable here? Salary is a dependent variable. What is the index number? 1. So in ilog function, dataset.ilog, all rows, comma, which column I am interested in? Index 1 column, dot values. So it will give me dependent and independent variable. You can look at the data now. I am printing independent variable. So ES experience in ES is mentioned here. Salary is also mentioned, that is dependent variable Y. So now they have become capital X and small y for my program. So in this way we divide the entire data set into dependent variable and independent variables. There will be only one dependent variable and multiple independent variables are also possible. Another thing is now that it is possible that you may have a missing values. Values are not present, values are missed. So you can fill those missing values also. There are 4 options available. The first option is you can fill a mean value for a particular column. Means average value you can put where the value is not there. Another is a median value. The middle value you can put into a column value where the value is not present. Another is a most frequent value you can put, or you can put constant value also. Like I would like to put A wherever there is a missing value. So there are 4 options available. How to process this? Though in this data set there are no missing values, but to explain you, I have put this code also. So for that purpose, what do? We import a library sklearn.impute, and we import this class, simple imputer class. Then we create an object of this class. The name of the object is imputer, class name is simple imputer, and then you see when I am hovering, it is giving me information. So you need not to remember the syntax. Syntax will always be available. What you need to do is you need to pass some parameters. So here I am passing parameters. The first parameter is missing underscore values equal to np.nan, where np is a library, numpy library. NaN stands for not a number. So missing values are represented by NaN in our data set. So then the next is how do I fill the value? I will fill mean value. So I am passing here mean. You could pass median also. You can pass most frequent also. You can pass any constant value also. If you are passing constant value, then this fill value must be true. Otherwise it is none. Verbosity represent how the data will be visible. Copy equal to true means we are creating a copy of this. So data is being changed in, not in original. Once the object is constructed, we will use this object with fit function for a column in which we would like to impute values. So I would like to impute values in capital X for all rows, and which column? The first column 0. So 0 colon 1 means I am including only 0, because in Python higher range is excluded. So we are imputing missing values on 0th column, and we are doing transformation, and I am passing in the same column 0 1. So whatever value will be missed will be replaced by mean value. I am executing this. So let us check it again. So I am converting it into data frame, and I am checking, do I have a missing values? So now it is 0. So there is no missing values. So in this way, we actually fill missing values: mean, median, mode, and constant. Now once it is done, then your data is ready to be split. So we need to divide the entire data set into training set and testing set, because model will be constructed during training phase on a particular data set. Once the model is trained, then you can use testing data set to check the accuracy of a model. I will show you by example. How do we do that? First of all, we import sklearn.model selection library, and then we import this routine, train, test, split routine. And then in train, test, split routine, we pass 4 arguments: independent variable represented by capital X, dependent variable represented by small y. Then we pass here test size, which is equal to 1 by 3. 1 by 3 means 33% of the rows will get into testing data set. So remaining 66% rows will get into training data set. So 33% in testing, 66% in training. 1 by 3 I have taken specifically because 30 rows are there. So 10 rows will be in training data set, and 20 rows will be in training. 10 rows will be in testing data set, and 20 rows will be in training data set. Then for each time execution is happening, I want the same result. So I pass random state equal to any value. You can pass any value here. Re-execution will produce always same result. I'm executing this. So now I have got 4 variables: xtrain, xtest, ytrain, ytest. This routine always results in these 4 variables in the same sequence. So xtrain is the training data set of independent variable. And how many rows are there? 20 rows are there. It is the testing data set of independent variable. How many rows are there? 10 rows are there. It is the training testing data set of dependent variable, and it is a training data set of dependent variable. So I have divided the whole data set into training set and testing set, represented by xtrain, xtest, ytrain, ytest. So far, is it okay, Abhishek sir? Am I audible? Because I am on my screen, so I am not able to see. Am I audible, Abhishek sir? Anybody who can respond?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have now come to the conclusion that now we are in position to make a model. So the making a model in machine learning using Python is very easy. There are 4 steps to be followed always. Either it is a machine learning or deep learning. First, you import the relevant library, then import the relevant class for that model, create object of that class, then use fit method to train that model, and use predict method for prediction. That's all. These 4 steps are there. I am doing the same. From sklearn.linear model library, sklearn is a very important library. It stands for scikit-learn. This library is used for all machine learning algorithms. I'm taking sub library of this linear model, and from this sub library I'm importing this class linear regression. Once linear regression is used here, we will create object of this class. The name of this object is regressor, which is actually a name of the model also. Then we train the model using fit method, and we pass 2 arguments always in fit method, xtrain and ytrain. The training data set of independent variable and the training data set of dependent variable. I'm executing this. So now my model is constructed and it has been trained. So only 2 lines of code will work for us. Once the model is constructed, you can use it for prediction. So you can use predict method with this object and pass any data. I am passing xtest, so it will predict the predicted values of testing data set. So it is predicting here, you see, it's a ypred. Now I would like to see how much I succeeded. Where do I fit my line? So I am plotting a graph between xtrain, ytrain, scatter plot, and then a straight line for xtrain and regressor dot predict xtrain. So you see, this is the line which we have received after implementing this. Here, of course, least square method was used for implementation and to identify B0 and B1, and using this we have got this. So this is the data of training set. Same we can check it for testing set also, like this. Same we can see for other parameters. Now we know we need to identify the M and C value, the slope and intercept. You can identify for this object, for this model, what is the slope using this attribute, and what is the intercept using intercept attribute. So I'm executing this. Slope is 9346, intercept is 26816. Now you can give an input and the predictor will give you the output. Like the salary of a person whose experience is 10 years will be 1,20,276 rupees. So in this way we are able to now use the model. We can check the mean average error also using mean absolute error function, and we are passing ytest and ypred. We can check RMSE also, that is root mean square error, using this mean underscore absolute dot error, And even we can check the training accuracy and testing accuracy. So training accuracy is 93% and testing accuracy is 97%. So is it overfitting or underfitting? As the testing accuracy is more than training accuracy, it means it is underfitting. Now, once the model is ready, model is constructed, you can save the model. So now I am coming to the deployment part. So to save the model, we have a lot of libraries available. One of the libraries is a Pickle. So you can save your model using Pickle library, and you can dump. Here I am passing the name of object, which is a model, and I am saving it. And this model will be saved in this environment only, in virtual environment only, not on Google Drive. So once it is closed, it will not remain here. Another thing which you can do is you can save data model using another library, joblib library also. Here I am trying to save this data into my Google Drive now. So I am passing the path of Google Drive, content, my drive, and I am saving this model by this name, linear_sav. Okay, and I am dumping it using this object. In this file it will be dumped, and later you can load it back from your Google Drive, and you can use it for prediction, for identification. I'm executing this. So this is saved in my Google Drive. I would like to show you this also. I'm copying this and checking in my Google Drive whether it is saved or not. So you see it is saved. It is saved in my Google Drive because this program is connected with my account. Same, you can use insert operation here and add form field for getting data in UI fashion. So here I am getting experience, and then I am passing experience. So 7 years of experience I get given as input, and it is giving the salary for this experience. Like this. Now another way is you can use Pickle library to store your model into your Google Colab, Google Drive also. So for that purpose, what can we do? We import a library, then we save this model using dump function, and we pass regressor, and we open this drive in write mode, and then we save this model. So I'm executing this. Once the model is saved, you can load it back from your Google Drive and you can use it. So you can use load function, and you can open it in read mode, and then you can use it. So when next time you execute the program, you need not to execute the entire program. You start your program from here. First you connect it with your Google Drive, then load the model and then use it. No need to re-execute again and again. This was about how to save any model of machine learning and deep learning. There are various options available. Joblib is one library, Pickle is another library, and in deep learning we use HDF5 or H5. Extension can be saved into your Google Drive. Now I am coming to the deployment part. So I would like to create a web application. This web application will give me access of model. So any person in the world will be able to use your link, and he will be able to use your model through web application. So any machine learning, deep learning model can be deployed onto Google by many web application frameworks. One of the web application framework of Python is a Flask. So we are going to use Flask for making web application for model deployment of machine learning. And as it's a virtual environment which is provided by Google Colab, it is not publicly accessible. So I would like to use the IP of this virtual environment universally, and I would like to use it as public. So I am using another library, ngrok. ngrok library converts the virtual IP address into publicly accessible IP address. So I'm installing it. To install any dependency, any installation, we use pip install Flask or pip install any library name and exclamatory sign in Google Colab. I'm installing Flask ngrok. I'm repeating it again. Flask is a micro web framework, and ngrok is to convert the virtual IP into public IP. Now, once it is done, then you must be connected with your Google Drive. So again, I'm reconnecting it. I'm already connected, mounted. Now, as it's a web application, so I'm going to use HTML. So there is a way of saving your HTML file. HTML file will be saved into a templates folder. So first of all, we need to create a templates folder, and then we will save our HTML file into that folder. The process remains local also. Here I'm talking about Google Colab, but it is applicable on Anaconda Spider also. So I'm creating a template folder. To create a template folder, we use make directory templates and then this symbol. So you see here, this folder is created, templates. After executing this, once the folder is created, we are creating a HTML file. This file will receive input from user, input in the form of years, and once the button will be clicked, then it will give the prediction of salary for this years of experience. For that purpose, I am creating an index.html file. So I am using write file templates index.html. It allows me to write index.html file, which will be saved into templates folder. Then it is a simple HTML code I have written, HTML, then head tag. In head tag, I have used CSS, a bootstrap, and then I'm aligning it. In body part, what I have done, I am giving background color, some text, and then I am creating here the form field. So I am creating a form, action equal to URL for predict. So whenever the button will be clicked, the form will be submitted, it will access this function, predict function. It is a Flask function which we will create. So once the form will be submitted, the predict function will be called. That's why we have written URL for predict. Remaining, and then I'm creating here two things. One is a input type equal to number, which will receive the number, and another is a submit button. So when this button will be clicked, this function will be called. So this is the HTML file, and then I'm writing on HTML page what will be the output. So prediction underscore text, which will come from Flask file. So this is I'm executing now. So you see overwriting templates / index.html. So index.html file is created and it is saved in templates folder. Let us look at this. So you see here templates index.html. So now my HTML file is ready and it is able to receive in output from Flask file, and it can actually access predict function of Flask. Once it is done, then we need to create this Flask code. So I'm using Flask now. So I'm importing numpy as np, numeric Python library as np. I'm importing Flask and I'm importing these libraries, these classes Flask render template, and I'm using Flask ngrok and run with ngrok because it's a virtual environment. So I need to use this run with ngrok and pickle file to load the model. First thing which we need to do is we need to create an app. So I'm giving name of this app equal to Flask, and then by this way we are giving name to the application. Once it is done, then first thing I'm doing is I'm loading the model. from my Google Drive in read mode, and it is saved in model. We are going to run this app. So run with ngrok, and this app will be passed here. You can give any name. This is a Flask code. It is called decorator. So app root, and it's a default. So first time when it will be accessed, this home function will be called, and home function will return render template. So home first code will be this, then home function will be called because of this, and then it will access index.html file, because in render template I have passed index.html. Another routine I have created, app root. Here I am passing, you see, predict. This predict is the same predict which I have written here. This predict. It means once the form will be submitted, this function will be called predict function with get method. And what it is doing, it is collecting data from a HTML file. So here I have a input type, number, and what is the name? Experience. Same name I passed here in request.args.get experience. So the data will be taken from HTML and it will be saved into experience column, experience variable. Now once this experience variable is done, then I'm using predict method. It is the same model.predict experience I passed here, and again I'm using render template. I'm accessing index.html, and prediction text will be regression model has predicted salary for given experience, and this prediction text I put here. Here you see. So Jinja template it is, and then we'll execute this. I'm executing this. So you see, this is giving me running on local drive, ngrok. So I'm clicking on ngrok. So it is getting uploaded. There is a network issue.
Maybe it's a network issue, sir.
Yes, it is not being uploaded.
Yeah.
Wait for 2 more minutes. Let's see.
Okay, sir.
Meanwhile, it is uploaded. Another thing which you can do locally also, you can perform the same. I have performed. I'm showing you that what you can do. Same thing I have done here. It is a Anaconda which I installed locally. It is done, and I created a folder, linear regression deployment Parul University, and in this folder I have these files. These files all are required for deployment. I wanted to show you today. The first thing is app.py. It is the same file which we created there. I copied it, that's all. And I removed some code which was applicable only for Google Colab. So app.py. Another thing is template folder. It is here also, template folder. I hope it is visible. And inside I have index.html, same file, index.html. You can run it. How do we run it? I'm running it now. So you go to this. First you reach to this drive. So you must be in the current directory. So I'm in the current directory. Then you type python app.py. It is being loaded. Now the URL will be come here. you will get this. This is the model
Yes.
deployment, and
Yes, now it's visible, sir.
yeah, and you can give experience in years, any experience you can give, and it will give you prediction. Do you see the model has predicted this salary for this experience? Similarly, you can develop many web applications using Google Colab. Even you can deploy models onto your local. This is on local. This will work on Google URL, public URL also, and even you can deploy it on many other Google platforms also. So this was all about how to deploy a linear regression model and how to construct a linear regression model. So we discussed how to perform pre-processing, how to upload data, how to make model, how to use that model, how to deploy a model on Google Colab as well as on local host also. If time permits, if there is a session, then I can show you how to deploy on Google Cloud also. We can deploy it and we can use it as permanent URL also. So this is all from my side, Abhishek sir.
Yeah.
If there is
Okay. Yes, sir. Hello. Sir, your voice is not audible properly. Hello.
yes sir, yes Abhishek sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's excellent practical work, sir, that is done by you for the linear regression.
Thank you sir.
Yeah, sir. That is some question from the participant side. The first question is that how can we differentiate logistic regression and linear regression, and what are the applications for applications of logistic regression?
Sir, if you ask me about the difference between linear regression and logistic regression,
Yeah.
linear regression is a continuous value prediction, where logistic regression is similar to binary classification, where we have a logarithm 0 or 1. So if you are looking for two things, either 0 or 1, logistic regression is applicable, sir. Linear regression is like we are predicting temperature, salary, age, experience. So it's like that.
Okay. Sir, the next question is, okay, sir, what are the applications of logistic regression?
Logistic regression is like a binary classification, sir, in numbers. Like we have a range of values. Below 50, it will be one. Above 50, it will be another. So you are looking for two classes, but there is a midpoint. So such applications are used, sir, in logistic regression.
Okay. So the second question is, why is linear regression not suitable for classification?
Linear regression, actually, it's not a classification. It does not give you classes or categories, sir. It gives you continuous value. So like it is giving salary. So salary is not a class. But if I'm looking for, let's say it is a male or female, cat or dog, 0 or 1, then linear regression does not work.
Okay, sir. So the third question is how to remove the outliers.
Yes, sir. We have a scaling. We can use standard scaling and normal scaling, sir, where all the values will be put into range. So in this way, we can remove outliers from the data, sir.
Okay. So the next question is, what does R squared mean?
It is a goodness of fit, sir. R square means we are trying to identify the error, the total error, which is squared, sir.
Okay.
The difference between predicted value and observed value, and what is the total cost of difference between these.
Okay, sir. So next question is, can we use a linear regression model for image classification?
If we are talking about image classification, then it is a classification. So we cannot use linear regression. In classification, we use classification algorithms like decision tree, support vector machine, or naive-Bayes algorithm. These can be used for classification. But before image classification, we need to identify the features of an image. So convolutional neural network must be used to extract features, and then those features will be applied in classification algorithms.
Yeah, deep convolutional neural network, sir.
Yes, yes.
Am I right? Okay. So the next question is, why do we need to divide the data set into the training set and testing set?
Sir, as we know that once the model is constructed, it has
Okay.
been constructed on a particular data. If you will
Okay.
provide the same data again for testing, it will always give the accurate result. So we will not be able to see what is the real accuracy of a model. So what do? We divide the data set into training set and testing set, which is
Okay.
different. Like the data which you are using during training will
Okay.
not be part of testing data set. So
Okay, sir.
testing data set is different from training data. That's why we divide the data set.
Okay. Yeah. Once again, thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and share your knowledge with all of you. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Dear participants, here I am sharing the feedback and the certification link that is open up to today, 5:30 p.m. So here I am sharing that link with you all.
Shall I leave, Abhishek sir? Can I leave now?
Just 1 minute, sir. So my screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah. So dear participants, this is the feedback and the certification link. And after the filling this feedback form, you also get the certificate of this webinar, participation certificate of this webinar.
One more information I would like to give, Abhishek sir,
Yes, sir.
that we can deploy these models on multiple cloud platforms also, like
Google Cloud, sir.
on like Heroku we can deploy. We can
Okay.
deploy using Streamlit, also
Okay.
streamlit.in. We can deploy
Okay.
on Google Cloud, Amazon,
Okay.
and Azure also. So that can also be conducted to make them understand.
Okay. Okay, sir. So thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot for your valuable time. Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.